What if I told you that you, yes you, could physically change your brain? And maybe you've been doing it already. Now, this is due to a trait our brains have called neuroplasticity. It's the idea that our brains can change their activity based on external or internal stimuli by reorganizing its structure or function. Now, there's two kinds of plasticity. Short-term plasticity is the rapid change in the strength of a synapse. It lasts a few seconds to a few minutes and affects things like short-term memory. But it's not going to give us the type of long-term changes that we want, and for that we have long-term plasticity. And this includes long-term potentiation and depression, or the strengthening and weakening of cortical pathways. So, how does this all work? But before we start changing our brain, let's talk about the basics. A sensory signal is passed through the cell body, axon, dendrites, then across the synapse of a motor neuron. In long-term potentiation, a sensory signal arrives at the presynapse and causes the production of glutamate, which binds to the AMPA receptor. The AMPA receptor then allows sodium ions to enter the postsynapse. But if this is a weak signal, it's not going to lead to long-term potentiation. What we need is either a strong signal or repeated weak signals to keep AMPA open long enough for the sodium concentration in the postsynapse to increase to a level where the magnesium ion in the NAMDA receptor is expelled. This allows calcium ions to enter the postsynapse. Calcium ions lead to the molecular cascades in the neuron, which trigger a greater density of AMPA receptors at the postsynapse. This leads to a stronger connection and stronger signals through permanently enlarging the synapses if signals are maintained. Eventually, long-term potentiation and long-term depression can lead to the reorganization of cortical pathways. So that, my friends, is how we can physically change our brains, through repeated sensory signals, or by doing something again and again. But this sounds familiar. I know it as something called practice. So this video may have just been a long-winded way of saying that practice makes perfect, but now you know the science behind it.